All right, guys. Our Profitable Gym. I am joined today by Jordan with Iron Forge Athletics. Jordan, welcome. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
So, guys, today he is one of our clients now working with us 8 months. And Jordan, truthfully, you've gone through a dramatic change since when we first started. It was kind of in the middle of the pandemic, if you would, and uh, there's no good time to make change in your business, but if there was ever a time, uh, it needed to be done. So really what I want to, help people understand through your eyes and walking the walk and really having to go through some of the hard decisions. I want to open up that as much as we can to let gym owners who maybe have struggled with some of the same growing pains you have and I have, and really just shed some light on the actual tactical things that you had to do so they could see it for what it is, from someone who knows what it's like to be in the trenches and, wake up early and put in the long hours and, achieve the results that, I think many gym owners want, which is, professional income and lifestyle freedom in your business. So guys, we're going to go through that. But Jordan, just to open it up, would you mind filling everybody in, where you're located, how long you've been in business, and just current state of life right now?
Yeah, Chris. Again, Jordan, I have been in the CrossFit or functional fitness world for 10 years. I'm out of Fayetteville, North Carolina. Um, I first got started in Hickory, North Carolina, and moved to Fayetteville in 2012. I have been a part of Iron Forge for the duration of its existence, all but 2 months. So from 2012 to 2016, I was a coach, head coach, and then I ended up buying the gym October 2016 and working on 4.5 years, like going on 5 as an owner. So throughout the 10 years, fitness enthusiast, coach, head coach, and now owner, and now an entrepreneur.
You've kind of lived all of the life cycles, if you would, within the fitness industry, and
Yeah,
uh, in many ways that can feel, like a challenge of going through all these cycles. But if anything, I think this is why you have the success you do, is you understand what it's like to be on the other side of being a client, being really in a business that you could see opportunity to change. So I think it's pretty cool that you've been able to see it through all those different lenses. Not to mention when our clients first connect with us, a lot of them don't feel like we understand or that we don't know the challenges they've gone through to try and get to the results they want. So you've got this edge to you that I think is really important for people to recognize. Like these experiences and these things that you've gone through are going to be helpful for getting people started in fitness. Um, so let's kind of open this up. Like what tell me about family. I want to know the full, bandwidth. You're a family guy. People need to understand
mm-hmm.
that you're running a business with kids, and can you shed some light on how many kids, what dad life is like running a business? I just want to, open that up
Yeah,
for people.
yeah, definitely. The touch point, I think that's one of the huge things is like looking for someone that's been through your same experience. So working with someone that is in the gym industry or that gets it is huge. And being a father, I think that's one of the things I look forward to is I've got 2 kids. My wife and I both work full time. And when I say full time, I pay myself as a gym employee. I'm there as a coach, manager, too, as long as an entrepreneur. So I'm there 5 a.m. I've got my clients, I've got my classes. Um, I have a 4-year-old son who's in daycare, and I have a 9-year-old daughter who just finished up 3rd grade. So I I want to be there for my kids. I'm there to take them to school, to get them on the bus. I'm there to get them off the bus or to pick them up and to take them to their afternoon activities. And now with summer, there to like figure out what we're going to do during the day, summer camp, summer program. So I want to be that dad that's involved and run a successful business. I don't want to be an absentee dad. One of the things my wife and I discussed was, and it really helped our marriage. Hey, do you want me to be involved in the morning or do you want me to be involved in the evening? Because where I was, I didn't think I could be both. I couldn't be involved in both because I was, well, the gym, our business. So we had that conversation. Hey, I need you involved in the morning. All right. I structured my life around that. And then I realized I want to be home in the evening too. I want to be there to have dinner, not having to work at 8:30, answering calls, emails, and giving them myself. So I made that decision that between the hours of 8:30 and 3:30 is when I'm on for the business. Outside of that is family time. Is I'm giving myself to my kids. In the evening, it's giving myself to my kids and being the best husband I can. And that's been huge.
Well, let's open this up too, because I mean, you didn't start there mindset wise, and a lot of the schedule and bandwidth that you had to build, into the schedule to even arrive at this place. We need to talk about that because it's been a journey. And let's talk 8 months ago, right? Can you share a little bit on where your business was coming out of, say, the pandemic, and really when we started working together in October? I want to paint a picture of like why you even arrived at asking for help, reaching out. So can you set kind of the tone of, October-ish, coming out of the pandemic? Where was the state of, you as an owner, and then maybe a little bit on the business context?
Yeah. So where we were coming October, we had just celebrated 4 years around the business. And I had a vision of a 5-year goal where I wanted to be. And we had just got done through some closures. July, August, September were probably the 3 hardest months because we got shut down again. I lost 2 coaches. One of my coaches was moving, and it was just me. And I was like, and I went from 147 members to 20 something, and I was in survival. This is not where I want to be in 4 years. So I had to look at myself in the mirror. Hey, I took over the gym from the previous owner. I was implementing his vision of the gym, sort of sprinkled in with mine. And I looked at myself in the mirror, and I had 2 choices. I can curl up and give in and blame it on the pandemic, my coach is leaving, this, that, or I could make a decision and be like, hey, this is mine. I'm going to take ownership of it. I'm the captain of the ship. And I need to steer it in the right direction. And then I can focus on grinding and doing what I have to. So there was no matter of, I had 2 choices. And I'm not one to make excuses because, as someone told me, leaders lead from the front. Like, leaders lead by example. And that was in my mindset. I was backed in a corner. We hear it all the time. You don't know what you're going to do until you're backed up in a corner. And I was in a literal corner. Everything, 4 years of hard work and what I thought was doing it right just crumbled. Like relationships with the gym, coaches, staffing, I had nothing. And it was up to me.
I remember that moment where you kind of came broken, right? Like where you were looking for something to focus on and have hope. And, I think the pandemic set our industry back several, months, if not years. And it was a time where you were ready to wipe the slate clean. And I think it was a blessing too, where you could just start fresh and over. And when we were talking, let's kind of get some insight too, where I remember having this conversation where you were already almost like, if this doesn't work, I'm getting out.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's real, right? When you start having an ultimatum with yourself of, this is either going to go the way I planned it and wanted it from the beginning, or it's not worth it. So that, guys, is just to add some context, man, it was just an awesome now feeling to look back, Jordan, to know that was the place you were starting. And it's not very uncommon. I'll be honest. Like, a lot of owners live in that for years of, you use the survival term, and you cannot, I think, fulfill yourself and your family and get excited if you're always in the state of survival. It's just not possible, I think.
I realized I was running a hobby or a job, not a business.
What makes you say that, though?
The pandemic really showed me that I was working in the business or in the gym on a zero on like a zero like foot level every day, I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't able to step back as an owner or an entrepreneur and see what I needed to work on or outside of the class schedule. My mindset was class, class, class only. I could never work on sales, marketing, coach development, business development, because I was so warped of like, I've got to stop the bleeding. I've got to keep my job, not grow and like not realize I was running a business. And I think the pandemic, you said it was a blessing in disguise. It showed me that I didn't have what I thought I had in place, like really wasn't in place. It wasn't, I had a coach lead. Well, what's the process to bring on a new coach or to replace that? It wasn't in place. I thought it was,
Mm.
thought we were doing things the right way, but come find out when membership goes, I didn't have an opportunity to pivot somewhere else or to focus on a stream of income or have enough, or the price is at a point where I had enough in savings to like continue it.
And yeah, let's open this up from a business standpoint, because you know how we do this in Factory Forge. We really study the numbers, guys. We want to make sure that the math makes sense on paper, in order to get it really to make sense in real life. Can we talk a little bit about where the business was at? Like, we analyze this a lot, where the flow of the sales is really determined on leads, number of appointments you're having, number of enrollments. Correct me if I'm wrong. I've got some of the math up here, but you're averaging somewhere around 17 leads a month. You're seeing anywhere from 4 to 5 appointments a month, and somewhere enrolling 1 to 2 people is what I had down. And then you were enrolling people at $137 a month, or 185 was kind of the price range at that point. Does that sound about right?
You're being generous on the number of leads.
Oh, really? That's what's in the notes. So maybe you're fluffing them for me. I don't know. But then the big note I wrote down here was you're coaching 90 to 95% of the classes.
Mm-hmm. We had 48 classes a week, and I was coaching 35.
Yeah. Well, when you guys hear the transition he's made, it's pretty remarkable to know, I think, Jordan, what you can accomplish being efficient, being focused, and having a real plan. Like you said, if the plan isn't there, if you are so in the trenches working all the tasks, it's hard to see it for what it could be. And what, if you were working on the things that add up to a smart strategy for your life plan in the business, it can be done. But a lot of people don't take the time to slow down. And I think many people missed it, Jordan, in terms of it being a blessing to really shake up, hey, this is an opportunity to, restructure. So you did just that. Let's talk about the biggest challenge or struggle in the business at that time. Where do you attribute that? Like, what really made you reach out?
The biggest struggle was understanding that I'm not only a coach, that there's more to being a business than just a coach. I didn't buy myself a job, which I fell into that trap. I didn't realize I was a manager and a entrepreneur or an owner. There's 3 hats, and I was only working that one hat. So the biggest struggle was, how do I get in leads? My mindset was, if I can get 3 people in here and commit them per month, like, that's great. I wasn't looking at, well, people are traveling, like people are like canceling. There's a turnover. I didn't understand the math of it. I was just hoping and praying that I get 3 people. Like, not understanding, well, that needs to be, if I want 3 signups, like how many like conversations do I have to have? How many leads do I have to have? How many? So I didn't realize working backwards or reverse planning. That was my biggest struggle. And I didn't have the skill set or the tools or the knowledge how to do that. I was just so confident that if I could talk to you about the gym because I was passionate, that I could get you to sign up. But there was no plan like in place to get my brand out there. I was just basing it off what we've done in the past and like hoping that was enough.
I want to ask you, you mentioned being a lot of pride being the dad that you are, and being able to be there for your family. But what did the lifestyle look like at that point in time? Uh, did you always have that sense of freedom in the business? Like, can you talk about that piece? Because hearing you passionately talk about it, I'm like, yeah, man, I'm going to run through a brick wall. Like, I'm on, that dad business owner, like it gets me excited, but you didn't start there. And can you kind of talk about what your personal schedule, your family life, and kids, like how that really looked
Yeah.
in a place
Yeah.
where you didn't have a good system or strategy?
Yeah. I could tell you right away that to give back context, that what I'm saying now is a byproduct of some hardships. And what I mean is 2019, going into the pandemic, was probably the hardest year for me personally. And I say that with the gym because I put the gym in front of my family. I put the gym in front of my marriage. And I was at a rocky point with like my marriage. And that's just me being vulnerable. And a lot of people don't know that about me, that it was either the marriage or the gym. And I had to make some hard decisions, some big boy decisions. And I think that's what laid the foundation. Was I wasn't being there. I wasn't helping. I wasn't contributing. I was like making selfish decisions that I thought in the moment was good for, but I wasn't paying attention to what it was, like how it was affecting everyone. And I didn't have that sense of freedom.
Wow.
So I really had to look at myself. And you mentioned it from a financial standpoint and from a business standpoint, but the pandemic was probably the best thing to ever happen for me from a business standpoint and from a personal and lifestyle standpoint. And I say that, yeah. And I say that because I had to set up barriers. I had to protect my time. I had to protect my freedom, and I had to protect the things that like matter the most to me, because if the gym did shut down or if the pandemic did continue, like what mattered most to me, or what were they consistent? Or like my health, my wife, and my kids. And I had to protect those three things. And it started about what works for us. Boom, boom. And then start reverse planning and working around that. This is my kids' time. This is mine and my wife's time. And this is my personal time, like for my health. And where does the business fit in around that? As opposed to being pulled in 150 directions. And I say that one direction for each member, and being controlled about what they need, what they want, and struggling. I drew the line. I was like, all right, kids, wife, my health, everything else revolves around that. And I think once I switched that mindset, and like having a vulnerable conversation with you about that, like really helped it. It was what I needed. And I think, I can't remember the question you asked me, but it was the aha moment, because I was scared, man. I was panicking. I was scared, but putting it into perspective that I needed to protect those things that matter the most to me, regardless of business and gym aside, is the key and foundation to being successful in the gym. And now looking at it, like I mentioned, I go to work 5 a.m. in the morning. I'm at home, like getting the kids ready by 7:30 because I choose to. 8:30 to 10, 11, I work on the business. 11 to 12:30 is me time. 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock, I'm working on the business. I have a class that I choose to twice a week, and then I'm home with my family by 6:45.
Yeah, it's cool that I appreciate you sharing that, because that is the stuff that I want more owners to realize, and it sugarcoating it and talking about just the wins like wouldn't do it justice in terms of what we're actually doing here as an industry. And we talk about this a lot, of being a professional trade and being respected and have professional incomes. Like, I think this is a lot of what holds people back. So I do appreciate that, and I want to dive a little deeper, if it's okay. Like, what you're backed into a corner, and you start, feeling the impact of, say, the pandemic. You start to feel it on the family front. What is it about, that moment that made you reach out for help? Like, why did you want our help from Forge? Like, what was that point in time where you felt like we could even help? I'm curious about that piece.
Man, that's a great question. So context, I saw the
It's not easy to ask for help.
No, it's not. We live in a generation where social media, like, it's like everything's on social media. Like, it's like they know what we want to see. So you see various companies out there and you see well, we can help you do this. We can help generate this. And then there's a lot of fluff out there. And I realized that I've messaged you in the past before, like because of someone else or just to like poke, not really just like nibbling. And I think what it was I was talking to one of my members and I like told him, I was like, hey man, I think I'm having a conversation with your old gym owner. Is this guy legit? Like, this is like, he's like, yeah. He's like, if he says it's like, he's telling you the truth. He's honest. And that meant a lot because I think what it was, I was looking at the videos. I saw that you had kids. I saw that you're a dad and a business owner. And that meant a lot to me. Well, he gets it. He knows, like, what, like why is he getting to spend time with his kids and happy and making money and I'm not? Like, what am I doing? But I really reached out. Like, I really had a conversation. I booked a consult, and my mindset was the worst thing that's going to happen is we say no, and it's just not a right fit. And I treated like shopping for a car. I have my taste. I have the dream. I have like what's reliable and affordable, but then I have like, all right, like what can we give? Like there's something. And I think that's really stick out is like the constant material, like speaking to me, like relating to me, and then a referral. Like I happen to see your logo on a client's shirt, and I was like, hey, do you know that guy? Yeah, dude, he's legit. He changed my life. Like, he gets it. He understands it. So going in that conversation, it stuck out.
We were hitting you from all kinds of angles, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, man, that was cool.
It was a blessing in disguise because I got on and it was just chatting. And it was just very honest. Like, hey, the only way this is going to work is if the numbers make sense. And that's the first time someone was very direct, honest, and was like, hey, math.
Have you invested in a coach before?
I have. Yeah. I have invested in marketing and coaching, like business coach, like what I thought was business coaching and sales help, and just wasn't working. Just didn't find like the fit wasn't there. I was given tools and resources, but never shown how to do it. Like, never give the accountability. It was an easy out to quit.
So let me ask you this. Were you worried at that point where you decided to move forward? Like, what was going through your head when you're like, all right, I'm investing this money, I'm trusting this person? Did you have any hesitation or worry, I guess, about making that decision?
It's just a PG or PG-13 because I want to give you an honest answer.
You already threw down the vulnerability thing, so you might as well tell these guys how it is.
I was fucking scared. And I say that because I had a panic attack for 5 days. There was one time, going into the numbers, like we had just brought in $5,000 for the gym. That's it. And then I had to cover a $3,000 rent, payroll, expenses. And I was like, you know what? I'm going all in. And I couldn't sleep. I didn't tell anyone. I was quiet. I like hid in my room for 3 days. Like, I didn't go into the gym because I was like, this is it. Like, I remember walking around Fayetteville at 2:30 in the morning. I haven't told it, and just like breathing. All right, this is it. You did this for a reason. A few days later, someone came in and purchased sessions and things just started flowing. And I was like, but then once we had a conversation and you're like, and you were very honest, you laid it out. I was like, all right, I'm trusting him. Like, this is on me. This is on me. Like, he's here to help. He's going to push back He's going to ask me tough questions, but this is what I invested in. This is what as soon as we talked and I started getting tools and resources, I realized it wasn't an expense. It was an investment into my business. Like first I got scared because I made a bad expense. Like I thought I made a bad expense, but then when I realized this is a cheap investment because of where I am now, I just had to I invested in someone to help me. I had to invest in myself and believe that I was capable of doing this. And once I realized that, all the panic and stress went away. I just had to do what I was good at, but also focus on the things that I avoided like the plague for several years.
Man, I love that way you describe that, because, you know, if you apply that to what our clients are doing and investing in our coaching programs, and we literally have all this power to impact them and really change them. And a lot of them object about price, yet there's this solution right in front of them. And if they made the decision, life would dramatically change. And I think it's a short period of time. Within 90 days is a blip. But when you really apply that in that moment of making the sale, you have to shift your mindset into the investment mindset, not the expense, is what I'm hearing. And what would you tell anyone out there who maybe is afraid of making that investment, or how did you have to look at it, in that moment? You're walking around town, regretting the decision or thinking twice about it. Like how did you get past that moment to even trust the process?
I put myself, it's like what we tell our members. I was past the point of price shopping. It's like all the but I had to get over I had to overcome the barriers I was putting in place. I had to get over the excuses, and I had to have a honest conversation with myself. I had to stop blaming the market, the lack of professionalism, other people, just woe is me, like nothing's going right, and realize that I had to get over my pride. And I say that because I'm very guilty of it, that, man, I've been doing this for 10 years. I've got 2 master's degrees. I'm a regional athlete. I've got OPEX. I've got this and that. I've been in the game. Why is no one, like, why am I charging this? Or why is no one investing in me? Or why is no one paying me my worth? Once I overcame that pride and that stubbornness and really looked down to it, and people do value it. People do value me. And once I realized that, I valued the tools and resources and the program and the coach and the solutions that Factory Forge has given me. And it's just been a game changer. Yeah.
So what's been the biggest impact working together? I see you like light up when you
no, man.
Yeah. So like, Phil, like I've never asked you this before, but what's been the biggest impact on your business and, let's say, lifestyle, since I think we're 8 months in.
Yeah.
Share that.
Obviously the easy ones to go to financially, $5,000 per month. So I think my best month is 35,000. And that was actually last month. That's the easy. But the best benefit that I can have is, I guess, your approach to your level of expectation for us, like working with you, is top notch. And in return for me, I expect the same thing from my staff and myself on the back end. Like, you give us, like, you believe in us. And it's like, well, that sounds silly. Like, no, like I tell my wife this, and I tell my coaches this: hey, I'm expecting these things from you because I'm being held accountable to my coach. Coaches have to have coaches. Business owners have to have mentors. And if you're in that mindset of you don't need anyone, you're not, like, one, we're not a good fit, but 2, you're not going to be successful, because we're in an age now where you have to have help to run and operate. And I think that's the best thing that you have laid a standard and expectation for us. And I feel guilty if I don't meet it. and it pushes me to be like better, because where you come in and where your team comes in is where I struggle, and I need that. I'm not, there's an innovator, there's someone that's there's someone that takes and runs with it, and then there's someone that like copies and complains and they don't know why. I just needed that. I needed to find the right approach, and what that's done for me is help me look at my business in a new sense. Like, you reinforce protecting what matters the most to us. And it's silly because we're in a business to run a business, but that's like, there's more to the gym industry than the actual gym location itself. And I think that's the biggest thing that you've given us, and that I can't place a value on, because whether it's the process, the accountability, the professionalism, and I know we've talked about that, you have shown me what it is to be a professional. You have taken my concept of, hey, Chris, I want to be a professional coach and I want to professionalize the fitness industry in my area. You're like, hey, it starts here. Like, you can be the greatest, like, you can be the greatest coach, the greatest programmer, but I mean, what's that going to do for you? That's not where it starts. And I think, in your honesty and your willingness to push those buttons and ask those tough questions is a game changer, because not many people do that. Like, and I would use this analogy right here. I've been to regionals 4 or 5 times. Mm-hmm. Like, I jump into my classes. This was prior. And because I'm a regional athlete, head coach, and the owner, I would never get coached. And it would just frustrate me. I go to other gyms. Oh, I'm a former regional athlete. I'm a gym owner. Oh, he knows what he's doing. He doesn't need help. And I'm here to say, for someone that has done this from a athlete standpoint, and from, like, I've been in this for 10 years plus, we need help. Owners need help. We need to be shown how to be professional, how to grow, regardless if they say that we don't. It's bullcrap. And I think that's what you've done, is like, Jordan, you've been successful, but on a small level.
I think
this is what you need to do. So
the thing that I appreciate you saying that and telling it how it is, because my next question is going to, in an attempt to really lay the foundation for our industry, where I'm in it with you guys. This is what I've, always appreciated about being a coach, is like, I don't know that there's a better job out there. The amount of impact that we can have on people's lives. And I think we're really on the healthcare front, to be honest. And as long as the businesses are set up in a way for us to have the income to, I always say this, right? Like, get money out of the way. Just like, let's make sure the numbers work and then get back to doing what we love. And the piece that I want to know from you is, like, what was the hardest thing to overcome in the business growth? For you to really look at it in hindsight, was there something in particular that stands out that we had to tackle together? Maybe it was the thing that you didn't want to face because of ego, or maybe it was the most difficult from a technical standpoint. I'm just kind of curious in that regard of, what did you find the most difficult?
You mentioned it, like, getting the money outside. Like, once we take that out, we can focus on what we really love. But I think that was the hardest point, is I had let people tell me what my worth is for so long, that when it came to money, I was I pushed back on you a lot, and I pushed back on it. Well, no one's going to pay. This is a market. And what it is I was deflecting and referring back to what people have told me. Well, you cannot do a discount because it's expected in this town, or like, people are military. This is a poor town. Yeah, I get it, but no one's going to, I had to get that out of my head. That was the hardest thing, is to realize that I had to charge my worth, like, not only my worth, but what the business was set up to be. Like, we had to look at expenses. We had to look at payroll. We had to look at the actual numbers and reverse plan. And that was the hardest thing, was to look at that number and be like, I've got to charge that. And then the part B to that is believe in myself that I'm, one, worth that. I have the systems in place, but 2, I can show people that in a quick, or I mean, not in a quick, but in a down to earth, valuable way of, hey, like money aside, what is it that matters? Like, what do you need? And honestly, can I offer that? And once we're able to do that and accept, hey, this, in order to do that, I have to charge this, and I have to be okay with that, and really, and not let that get in the way of a conversation.
Yeah, there's two moments I reflect back on.
Mm-hmm.
One of them being what you said. Like, I think you were one of the people that like push back the hardest on like, I can't charge those rates here. You don't understand. And there's that initial mindset. And then when you started doing it, it was like almost like the second thing is like feeling like it was going to go away, like it was some kind of fluke or like it's going to dry up. And then you just molded and shaped yourself into like, this is who I am and this is what it takes to train here, to the point where I started seeing you push or turn people away. And that's when I knew like you found your worth. So it's for me been really awesome because of that moment of like coming in, like, you don't understand this town. It was just like a great moment of like how committed you were to that belief, yet shifting it made all the world of difference. So let's talk a little bit about, what the business does now, like as an efficient, fine-tuned, how many leads are you generating? You said I was generous at 17 a month.
Mm-hmm.
Let's tell people what's possible going from that
Mm-hmm.
state to now what you can do from a schedule where you do have with your family and time. So what is your business able to repeat on a regular basis, leads per month, would you say?
So far for 2021, we're averaging 30 leads, 30 leads a week for both quarters. Right now we're averaging 2.5 enrollments per week.
And then, so that's enrollments. And then how many people are actually interested in your membership? And I want to point this out. You're charging how much to just gain access to the program? It was $135. And now what is it?
It's $350 a month for 12 weeks. So $1,000 for the first 90 days. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, how many people are reaching out to you, setting up appointments, would you say on a regular basis? You said you're enrolling just over 2 people a week. How many people does it take to, achieve that?
I have 6 appointments booked for the week, that I allot myself to talk to people, but most weeks it's only 4 conversations, like 4 or 5 people actually like I'm needing.
Yeah. So about 20, 16 to 20 people a month,
mm-hmm.
you're able to hit that enrollment goal. And guys, 3 times the amount he was charging before. And when he doubted, people were interested and wanted what he had. So Jordan, I'm just so impressed with the mindset shift mostly, but being someone who really enjoys the process of building businesses, I knew I could teach that, but you have blown me away with your commitment to this and really to get to a level where you're enrolling, on average, over 2 people a week at $350. And the reason we did that, guys, was to create an advertising budget, to create room in the budget for a business coach, to create room for profit. So I want that to be very clear. And then once people are, qualified and in your core program, what are they paying now in relation to before?
$235 a month. Like once they finish the initial 12 weeks, we moved into a continuing offer of $235 a month.
$50 more per month per member.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds ridiculous to some people. To be like, I can't do that. And guys, you heard him, had to process and go through the change, and it's possible. And then lastly, just tell me about the hours of coaching. You mentioned you were coaching 95% of the classes at 40 something. This is a big transformation in itself. Like, how many classes do you offer now? And in comparison to that schedule, just so they can see that. And then how many are you doing personally from a coaching standpoint?
We are offering 21 classes a week right now. And I'm coaching 3 classes per week, 5 if it's my weekend to coach, because I like to coach 1 weekend a month. But I usually coach an evening shift and then 1 morning shift a week.
Love it. You feel like that's sustainable and fits within life and career?
Yeah, definitely. I'm very protective of my time. I'm very protective. I choose the classes I want to coach because I enjoy them. Like it fits my schedule. I'm actually about to take 2 weeks of vacation here this summer, like not like back to back, but 1 week to Iceland and then 1 week to the beach. And 4.5 years of owning gym, first time I've ever been able to take a week off and not have to worry. And I was telling Chris, I'm fortunate enough now because we're in a situation where I really get to see the labor, the product of the work I've put in, or my team has actually put in. That's one thing I want to clarify is that I've been able to do this as a gym, but it's not without having a strong support system with my coaches and my team and trusting them that this is possible. That's one, and that's one of the things I meant to say about like what you provided is I'm only as strong as my team. They've helped me really become successful because I trusted them and they trusted me. So I wanted to clear that up, but yeah, I'm very protective of my time. Like I get to enjoy the day. Like before it would offend me when people would say, "Oh, you're a coach? What's your real job?" You mean I'm a business owner that coaches and that I help people reach their health and fitness dreams. I invest my time into them so that way they can become a healthier person for their family. And I enjoy doing it and I get to work my schedule. I consider that a successful
dream job, man. Right, I'm telling you. So let's just kind of in close. I don't want to take too much of your time, but like, let's look at it from an approach standpoint. You have wisdom you've just dropped. How has your approach to owning a gym changed after going through this shift in mindset, shift in business practices? How's your approach changed to business? If you could kind of close it for them and offer up some kind of lasting tip, if you would.
The biggest approach is how I looked at it. If I was to close down, take a break, and come back into the fitness industry again and open it, this is how I would look at it. As exactly what I'm doing, how I would look at it. Like, what is the time I can commit to this each day? Like work it around my schedule, the things that matter to me, that's going to support me. And then look at it from a number standpoint. I think as business owners, we say that we want to be professional, that we want to like work in the gym and then work on it. Let's get the elephant out of the room. I look at it from a financial standpoint. But before, and I say that because of this, if it doesn't make sense, it doesn't make dollars. And you get into the business, you own a business to make a living. And that's the biggest change. And it sounds so cliche, and I'm sure it's going to rub like people wrong, but I'll say it anyway. I love what I do. I'm very passionate about it, if you can't tell. But if the finances don't make sense, I can't give of my best self to my members in return. If I'm always worried about money, cost, are we going to make ends meet? Obviously, every month, how can I give of myself? It's going to be a reflection onto you or my members, and it's going to show. I'm not going to be able to give of myself. And that's my mindset, is that it's okay not to be the best coach in the world because I'm training others to be a great coach. But it's okay to be a great entrepreneur and manager instead. Like, I don't have to be the best coach out there. I just have to be the best version of myself and make sure it runs sense financially. And I'm focusing on what I call the 4 areas of business: sales, marketing, development, and personal and in professional growth. And then And then once those are in place, then I can do what I enjoy doing, and that's coaching and helping others and getting them to understand that fitness is a journey. It's preventative healthcare, and that where they need to go, it takes support, accountability, and balance and structure. In order for me to do that, the back end has to make sense. And it starts with my time. It starts with what matters the most to me, and like financial, like I have to go in with a financial plan for it to work.
Yeah, I will back that all day. And if the business is not taking care of us as owners and we're constantly stressed, filled with anxiety, one, our industry is going to constantly turn over great, passionate coaches. And we see it all the time. So I 100% believe that if you can't put the oxygen mask on yourself and your business first, how are we going to even provide the service for people that need our help, let alone provide careers? So I think it's wise to say, hey, like that's an essential first step. And I've seen businesses too, where they try to provide everything for everyone but themselves. They wear themselves down to the bone and there's nothing left. And you can't operate at that level, guys. So that's the message here today. I think that's wise words to close out with. And one, I want to just thank you for taking the time and being real and open. That's what's going to change our industry. Is we are all colleagues. And what I want out of our industry is the ability to share real information, not marketing hype, not things that aren't happening at the ground level, but to really say these are the solutions that are working in our lives and our families and getting the results that we're talking about. Because I think we all get into this for that shared purpose of impact and influence in our local areas. But the business has to be set up in a way for us to be able to achieve those things. So, Jordan, thank you. You're a great role model for these guys out there, and I appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you for having me, Chris.
Cool. Well, guys, we're going to close out. If you want help and support like Jordan, please reach out to us. We will be open. We'll be honest with where you're at and what you need to do to get in control of your business and see similar results. Go to factoryforge.com/apply to get started chatting with us, and we'll go from there.